Are you tired of dealing with annoying computer issues? Do you wish there was an easier way to fix problems with your PC? Imagine being able to diagnose hardware and software issues quickly and accurately. That would save you time and money and frustration when your computer isn't behaving properly. It's not a fantasy. It's possible, and it starts with understanding two essential tools, POST and BIOS. These tools provide valuable insights into your system's health, allowing you to pinpoint problems and find solutions faster. By understanding what each tool does, you'll be able to quickly identify the source of the problem and get your computer back up and running in no time. So if you're ready to take control of your PC issues and become a troubleshooting hero, keep watching because I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. This video is for anyone who wants to improve their computer troubleshooting skills. Whether you're a gamer, a professional, a student, or just someone who wants to better understand their PC, the techniques I'll share will benefit you. By learning how to use POST and BIOS tools, you'll be able to diagnose issues faster and more accurately, saving you time and frustration. I designed this video to be clear and easy to follow even if you're not very tech-savvy. I'll explain everything in simple terms so that anyone can understand it. And don't worry if you've never used POST or BIOS tools before. I'll walk you through the process step by step. By the end of this video, you'll feel confident using these tools to troubleshoot any issue that comes your way. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn how to become a PC troubleshooting hero. Let's start right now. At its simplest, POST, which stands for Power on Self-Test, is a series of checks performed by your PC's firmware when you turn it on. Think of it as the initial boot checkup for your PC's hardware. The purpose of POST is to verify that all the essential components, such as your RAM, CPU, and storage are functioning correctly before allowing your operating system to load. In other words, POST ensures that your PC is ready to go before giving the green light for Windows or another OS to take over. During POST, your PC will perform several functions, including initializing the basic input-output system, testing the system clock, checking the memory modules and their sizes, and testing the CPU and cache. Each component has its own set of tests, which are designed to check for any issues that may arise. For example, the memory test will verify that the installed RAM modules are functioning correctly and are installed in the proper slots. Meanwhile, the CPU test will confirm that the processor is running at the correct speed and that there are no issues with the cooling system. But what happens if there is a problem during the POST process? If any issues are detected, the system will typically halt and display an error message or beep code. This is designed to alert you that something is wrong and needs to be fixed before the system can continue booting. The specific error messages or beep codes will vary depending on the manufacturer and the nature of the problem. For example, some motherboards may display a red CPU light and beep once if there is a problem with the processor or the cooler, while others may show a flashing RAM light and beep twice if there is an issue with the memory. By understanding these codes, you can quickly identify the source of the problem and take steps to resolve it. Once POST is complete and no issues are found, your PC will move on to the next stage of the boot process, which is loading your operating system. At this point, the control is passed to the bootloader, which loads the first stage of your operating system into memory. From there, the rest of the OS is loaded and your PC is ready to use. In summary, POST is a critical component of your PC's boot process. It performs essential checks on your hardware to ensure everything is working correctly before allowing your OS to load. If you ever encounter issues during the boot process, it's helpful to know that a problem with POST could be the culprit. By understanding the basics of POST and the potential issues that can arise, you can quickly diagnose and fix any problems that come your way. After POST completes and no errors are found, your PC will move on to the next stage of the boot process, which is booting into your operating system. The next thing you should be familiar with is the BIOS or Basic Input-Output System. It's essentially a firmware that controls the low-level operation of your PC. The BIOS is stored on a chip on your motherboard and is the first thing that runs when you turn on your PC. Its primary function is to initialize all the hardware components of your system before loading the operating system. When you power up your computer, the BIOS will run a series of tests to ensure that all your hardware is functioning correctly. This includes checking the date and time, testing the keyboard, and verifying that all devices are attached and operational. The BIOS also allows you to configure certain aspects of your PC's hardware, such as the boot order, which is the sequence in which the system checks for bootable devices. You can also configure other settings, such as the time and date, as well as enable or disable certain hardware features. One of the main functions of the BIOS is to allow you to configure the boot order, which determines the sequence in which the system will attempt to boot from different storage devices. For example, if you have an SSD and a hard drive, you can configure the BIOS to prioritize the SSD by making it the first device in the boot order. If your PC is having trouble booting, the boot order is one of the first things you should check, as it could be trying to boot from a device that is not present or not configured correctly. Another important aspect of the BIOS is the ability to enable or disable certain hardware features. This includes things like enabling or disabling onboard devices, such as the graphics card or sound card, as well as configuring settings related to security and user accounts. In addition to configuring hardware settings, the BIOS also provides a platform for running hardware diagnostic tools. These tools can be used to test individual components, such as the CPU, memory, and storage drives to ensure that they are working properly. If you suspect that there is a hardware issue, running diagnostics from the BIOS can be a useful first step in identifying the problem. Finally, the BIOS plays a crucial role in updating your PC's firmware. Firmware is the software that is embedded in your PC's hardware and is responsible for controlling the low-level operation of the system. As new features and updates become available, you can use the BIOS to update your firmware and keep your PC running at peak performance. Updating your firmware regularly is an important part of maintaining your PC and ensuring that it remains secure. Overall, the BIOS is an essential component of your PC that plays a critical role in the system's operation. By understanding the basics of the BIOS and how to configure its various settings, you can optimize your PC's performance and ensure that it remains stable and secure. Whether you're a gamer, a professional, or just someone who wants to get the most out of their PC, taking the time to understand the BIOS can make a big difference. Now let's talk about how to combine hardware and software checks for effective troubleshooting. First, start with hardware checks. Use beep codes, error messages, or built-in diagnostics to identify any issues. If no hardware problems are found, move on to software checks. Boot into safe mode and run Windows Diagnostics or use Windows tools like the Windows Memory Diagnostic. If you're still stuck, try restoring your computer to a previous working state or reinstalling Windows. Remember to keep a notebook of error codes and other troubleshooting steps you've taken. This will help you and any other technicians diagnose your PC faster. Also, keep your BIOS and drivers up to date. This can help prevent many issues and reduce the need for troubleshooting. Finally, familiarize yourself with the common symptoms of hardware failures. This will help you identify potential issues before they become major problems. By following these steps and keeping these tips in mind, you'll be well on your way to becoming a PC troubleshooting hero. Don't let PC problems slow you down. With a little knowledge and practice, you can become a PC troubleshooting hero. Remember to understand the basics of post and BIOS, use beep codes and error messages to identify hardware issues, run hardware diagnostics from the BIOS, and use Windows tools for software checks. Stay organized by keeping a notebook of your troubleshooting steps, and remember that many issues can be prevented with regular maintenance. So keep your BIOS and drivers up to date and familiarize yourself with common hardware failure symptoms. By following these tips, you'll be able to tackle any PC problem that comes your way. And remember, if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to a qualified technician. Thanks for watching.